Greetings. In this series, I'm going to introduce the Nanba Mandala Diary. Now, most people think of Nanba as a style of walking like the samurai walk, which it certainly is, and there are a series of exercises and a very physical orientation. The art of physical finesse is one definition I give to Nanba. However, it's also a way of thinking about your life, particularly about your mind, your body, and the way you live. And to assist with this, we've created a series of mandala charts, 30 in all, with three pillars. The first being enjoy the mind, second being enjoy the body, and the third being enjoy your life. I'm going to introduce each one of them has 8 in the series, and then there's also a mandala that puts them all together. But I'm going to introduce the first one today, and that is enjoy your mind. I'll do so first by sharing my screen. So if you go to the mandala chart.com website, you need to log in, but it is possible then to access and actually create your own mandala charts. Now, this particular one is the first of the series, one, Enjoy Your Mind. And it is available free if you log in. But if you want access to the others, the other 8 that go with this series, then you need to pay for it. And we're having a very special price. Actually, all 30 of these mandala are available for just $15 for a limited period of time. But I'll get to that a little bit later. First of all, let's look at how you use this mandala Nanba diary. Okay, so you'll see it starts with the theme in the center, enjoy your mind. And the fun thing about this is that every time you use it, you're going to, depending on your circumstances and what projects, what things are going on in your life, you're going to get different content. So it's sort of, in a sense, it's sort of a mirror of your current thoughts and circumstances. It's also a great reflection tool because you can print this out and write in it, as I have done here, or you can actually input information in the digital spaces here. Now, you see there are 8 questions. It goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And if you click on any one of these, it takes you to the lower layer. So you have 8 additional frames to explore the theme with. But today we're just going to look at the upper layer. There are some other features, like you can add an image from your computer. You can add links that will spring from this digital file, and you can change the color. So, but let's first look at what this enjoy your mind theme means. I'm just going to use my example so that you can get an idea of how it works. So your mind can give you so much enjoyment if you cultivate 2 things, imagination and appreciation. And there's so many opportunities to do this, and it's totally free. It's more a question of mindset. If you learn to do this, it can be endlessly fun. Okay, so let's look at sometimes when you just face with a blank space like this, it's hard to know what to put into it. So we've seeded this with questions. So the first A down here, enjoy your mind. The question is, are you laughing from the bottom of your heart? Are you laughing from the bottom of your heart? Maybe before that, we should ask, are you laughing? Because a lot of adults don't laugh that often. And when they laugh, they don't laugh that deeply. If you look at children laugh hundreds of times a day, and adults sometimes only a few. And this is another way to see this in children is see how ticklish they are. You just pretend like you're going to tickle them and they just giggles all over the place. So they're always ready to laugh. But adults, not so much so. We tend to get a little bit too serious about things. And when we think of humor, we think of jokes. But Humor is humor. The original meaning of humor is a mood. The humors were considered to be sort of fluids that would travel throughout the body and associate with different organs in the Middle Ages. But so being in a good humor, that's what we're talking about here. It's not a response to a joke so much as a state of mind, a happy state of mind. So this is the first. And then we go to B. Do you look at the sky? This is one of my favorite questions. And what do you feel when you look at the sky? If you look around at people walking down the street, if they're not glued to their cell phone, they're generally looking down, unless there's some unusual weather phenomenon in the sky or fireworks or something. They don't generally look up. But the sky has so many expressions, particularly now it's summer, and you have these absolutely beautiful cumulus clouds that just pile way up high. And it's so much fun to look at the sky and to notice what you can see, all the different changes in color and the moods of the weather. Native peoples of many cultures were able to predict weather long before it came because they were very sensitive to subtle changes in the air and in the sky. Some of this actually is recorded even in Western culture in almanacs. Red sky at night, sailors delight. Red sky at morning, sailors take warning. So little phrases that help you remember how to predict the weather. So the common answer when you ask people, what do you see when you look at the sky, is you see clouds, birds, maybe an airplane once in a while. But actually, if you think about it, if you include night, of course, you've got stars, the moon, sun. But actually, when you're looking at the sky and the Earth is also turning, so you're not always looking at the same sky in 24 hours, you make a single rotation. So you're looking at the entire universe from the Earth's perspective. That's a pretty deep thought. And actually, it reminds me there was a Zen koan, which is a meditation puzzle that has no logical answer. And a friend of mine who's a Zen priest was asked this. This was his first koan. It says, how many stars are there in the sky? So he responded, an infinite number. So the Zen master said, how do you know? He says, well, that's what we were taught in school. Says, go outside and count them and verify it for yourself. How are you going to ever do that? How are you even begin to keep track of what you have counted and what you haven't? See, he spent 6 months working on that question, a very typical Zen situation, but before he was able to move on. But obviously the answer is infinite, but not as an intellectual response or something on a school test, but more as an actual feeling. So do you look at the sky? By the word sky in Japanese, sora, also means ku, which means empty, emptiness, or emptiness with a capital E, meaning actually fullness, because it has the infinite potential to hold everything. So moving on to C, what are the things that make you happy? Extend your antenna for happiness. I love that idea of having an antenna for happiness. So happiness is different from pleasure. You might have an ice cream or a beer and you feel some pleasure for the moment. And in a sense, that's a sort of small version of happiness. But when it's over, it's over. So it passes quickly. So we're not talking about pleasure and not talking about sensory derived happiness, but more something deeper. And it's actually mixed. If it's to be sustained and deep, it should be mixed with gratitude and appreciation. So why not take up the art of appreciation? There are two great ways to do this. One is through the arts, art appreciation, music appreciation. That will definitely make you happy. And another is nature, if that's your preference. You can do this while walking, Nanba walking in nature. There are ways to even enhance this more with photography. Smartphones have great cameras now, so you can actually share your happy moments with others and your discoveries. So moving on to D, are you free of distracting thoughts? Now, most people are quite distracted. I notice a lot of young people constantly seem to you ask them a question and they can't hear you because they've got earplugs in. They're listening to music all the time. And that means that their mind is not calm. It's very unsettled. And going along with that is actually shallow chest breathing. Now, what's the problem with shallow chest breathing? Well, and how do you know if that is what you are doing or if somebody's doing? One sign is that the shoulders heave a little bit, and you can hear it just like in, out, in, out. And how would you define shallow? Well, if you're breathing like 20, 30 times a minute, that's pretty shallow. So how do you, and an old Indian tale says that the number of breaths that you draw in your life is fixed from birth. It's different for every person. Nobody knows how many there are. But one thing is certain, and that is that if you breathe rapidly and shallowly, you will use up your quota faster than you need to. If you want to extend your life, you need to extend your breath. Now, you don't have to do complicated yoga breathing exercises. They're fine if you want to do that. But a very simple way to do it is to simply pause for a count of 3 between each breath. That is, after you exhale, and begin with the exhalation, by the way. In Japanese, the word kokyu means basically exhale and then inhale. Ko is exhale and kyu is inhale. So you breathe out first through the mouth. And you count 3, 1, 3, and you breathe in through the nose, allowing the abdomen to expand. Don't hold your breath, but just pause. 1, 2, 3. So you can do this anywhere, and you don't have to make it obvious about it. You don't have to slap your knee every time. You can count silently. But this will encourage abdominal breathing, and it will cut the number of breaths you take per minute in half, which is a life extension hack, if you will, that I highly recommend. So moving on to E, do you greet people cheerfully? Greetings make you feel good. Japanese language has so many formalized greetings. Ohayo gozaimasu, good morning, otsukare-sama deshita, so thank you for your hard work. There are all kinds of formalized greetings, which people use in daily life to sort of keep the social connections well oiled. But some people, I've noticed, are so preoccupied with themselves that they don't even though they know who you are, they don't acknowledge when they walk by you. They don't say hello. But even more strange is they don't answer when you say hello. So that's not good. That is not a sign of happiness. So one way you can practice this is not just with people that you know, but people that you don't know, but maybe perhaps maybe the service people who clean the premises in the place where you work, or people behind the counter when you're going in to make a purchase or buy tickets, or at the grocery store, to greet them with a cheerful word and maybe a bit of small talk. It can really make their day. And in doing so, it will make your day as well. So now we'll move to F. Have you done something kind to those around you? Kindness makes you feel lighter. Well, I'm sure you've experienced that when you do something nice for somebody, it makes you feel good. Of course, it makes them feel good. But there are 2 kinds of kindness. One is in Japanese called omoiyari, which literally means thoughtfulness or awareness of other people. For example, it's quite hot here in Japan now, and so there is a concern of something called netchusho, which is basically can be quite serious where you get dehydrated and your body can almost shut down and you go into tremors and everything. It can be quite serious and it kind of creeps up on people. So you need to keep drinking water. You need to keep hydrated. So one kind thing that you can do is just when you're buying a bottle of water for yourself, buy another one for a friend and offer it to them and say, hey, stay hydrated. They're certainly going to appreciate it. But it's obvious who did the kindness and that's nice. And you don't need to take credit or anything about it, but just that's an easy form of kindness. The other is called in toku. In means shadow and toku means virtue. So shadow virtue, what is that? That is kindness which is done, for which you do not take credit and no one noticed that you did it, but you did it anyway. For example, the other day I was walking along the sidewalk and I noticed there was this stone that had somehow tumbled out onto the sidewalk, and it could be quite dangerous if a bicycle tire caught it. And some people are quite distracted when they ride their bicycles, and they could easily be upset. So I moved the stone off the path. It's some sort of a natural thing to do, but you can accumulate intoku by doing like say somebody threw out some trash on the ground. Well, you pick it up and dispose of it. Just small things. There's so many opportunities. And that is, there are two ways to practice kindness. Then we move to G. Have you made people laugh? Laughter is a panacea for the soul. So making people laugh is not just a matter of telling jokes. It's more a matter of finding the funny in a situation and sharing it, or just being ready to share your willingness to laugh. And it's so easy to do this if you play with your imagination. So you can say there's a situation which there would be certain social norms that people would behave in a certain way. And you can kind of play with, so what would happen if you sort of broke some of those norms and just you kind of do your own classic comedy situation. It could be quite funny. For example, let's say there's a health method that you discovered that involves doing a little foot massage and twisting your toes and things like this. So obviously that's something you do by yourself when you're barefoot, but you can say, what would happen if you were in the train and you're kind of excited about this method and you turn to the person next to you and say, hey, did you know that if you twist your toes like this, it can actually help you lose weight? And it's a ridiculous situation. You would never do it in reality, but it's kind of fun to play with the idea. And then you can even take it further and say, you bring everybody in the car. So if everybody does it, there's no shame in it. So you can imagine what would that be like. So you play with your imagination, just have fun with exaggerating and finding a little bit of classic comedy in the scene. So then H, do you have the heart of a boy or girl? It's boring to always act as an adult. So you can see in people's faces if they are taking themselves too seriously because they don't smile. They're very, very concerned with their territory or their authority or their rank or their status, and just take themselves far too seriously. So first of all, that's their way. You can't maybe change it so easily. So you don't take yourself so seriously. And one way to do this is to practice something in Japanese called hengao, which means making funny faces. And this is something that Japanese seem to love to do. It's funny because they're often have this reputation of not showing much expression on their face. They actually do, but if you're not used to the cues, it's not that easy to see. And so then you have somebody who's suddenly saying, "Oh," or or just, like kids do this all the time, making a funny face out and trying to make themselves laugh. And there's actually a formal way to practice this called facial yoga. And it begins with, eye stretches and exaggeration, poking out your tongue. So if you're interested in that, you can look up facial yoga. There's some fun exercises to do, and it will relax muscles in your face and brighten your mood. So I've just gone through the 8 questions in this first of the Nanba Diary Mandala, Enjoy Your Mind. If I did this tomorrow or next week, I might come up with entirely different stories. And in this case, I've written them down so that it makes it kind of a nice record. You can date it and keep it as it were being a diary. Now, this is the first. I will do 2 more in this one on Enjoy Your Body and another on Enjoy Your Life. So you see how the process works. If you go to the mandalachart.com and click on templates, you can download them for free. I think you need to log in, and we're going to make them available, the entire set of all 30, so 10 of each, for a mere $15, which is a significant discount over what we have been selling it for. But we're going to do this for a limited time period as part of a release of Nanba-related products. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you start your own Nanba diary and make the best use of this reflection tool to enhance your life and the life of those around you.